Anyway, wanted to get into Jahan Dotson's lack of production because Sam Howell yesterday when he spoke to the media was obviously asked a lot about sacks. And then he was asked about Jahan Dotson. And
what did he say, Ricky?
You want the exact quote?
Obviously, we've asked you a lot about the receivers and getting on the same page. Where do you feel that's at? And also, along with that, like Jahan the other day, he gets to one target. How aware are you of when guys, what kind of targets they're getting in a game?
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, our plan is to always spread the ball around to all those guys. We want to utilize all the talent that we have. But at the same time, you really never know how the flow of the game is going to go. And, yeah, I mean, throughout the game, you obviously kind of who's been getting the ball, who hasn't, and especially after the game. Like, I don't think Jahan had a catch. And so just going to him and just continue to tell him that I trust him. And it's really not anything that he's doing. It's just kind of a flow of the game type thing. It wasn't that Jahan wasn't in the game plan. It's just more of, the plays that were called at that certain time and kind of what looks they gave on certain plays kind of dictates where the ball goes. And it's kind of just one of those unlucky things for Jahan. But, we trust Jahan. He's a hell of a player. And I'm going to continue to try to do everything I can to get him the ball, just like all our guys. But, yeah, I mean, the good news is there's been no complaints from anybody. I mean, obviously, I'm sure everybody wants the ball more, but at the end of the day, they just want to win.
31 targets, 17 catches, so he's not even averaging 3 catches a game.
The weird part is the drops because his reputation was he doesn't drop the ball at all.
He wasn't dropping balls his rookie year.
No, that was the whole thing in training camp and
I don't know what's
last
going
year.
on
The
with
guy doesn't drop balls, catches everything. And this year there's been a few drops. I don't know. The interesting thing is JP mentioned that people are pointing to various stats they may have that allegedly are showing that our receivers aren't getting open. We've been kind of hearing this rumbling the last few weeks. And I think Dotson's one of those guys that they're suggesting.
Yeah, you brought up separation stats like 3 weeks ago. I can't remember if you got that off Next Gen Stats or wherever you got it, which was, look, it all goes hand in hand, right? Sam Howell's getting sacked a lot. Some of it's on Sam, some of it's on the offensive line, some of it's on the receivers not getting open, some of it's on the play calls. I went and checked because I saw something yesterday on Twitter, and the person said that they had gone through the film and Jahan Dotson, wasn't getting open, that it was on his routes. But then I clicked on it, and the guy had like one follower. Like I don't put any credibility into it.
Right.
We do know he was.
We need somebody like Kime or somebody. I know Kime comes on every month. But we need somebody that watches the all 11, 22, whatever.
We do know, though, that he was open on the pass, which might have been Sam Howell's, best pass over the top. It could have been a huge play, probably like a 40, 50-yard gain, and he dropped it.
I feel like any receiver can get open. I mean, you can only cover a guy for so long.
And
it's not that easy to cover.
I think he's a great route runner. Like, I've heard Nicky Jabavala talk about it. We've seen some of the videos out before of him just turning guys around.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I think he's known as kind of being like an elite route runner, especially for his age.
If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067. It is open line Thursday.
That's my impression.
I tend to agree with what Sam Howell said. Look, they got a game plan, and then there's game flow, and he throws, I do think you have a clear number one in Terry McLaurin. They're trying to feed Terry McLaurin the ball because all week we were saying Terry's not getting the ball enough. And what do you have? 13 completions in this game?
Yeah.
So how many you're going to be able to even get to Dotson? Guy had 13 completions. He throws a couple to the backs, a couple to the tight end, 5 or 6 to Terry McLaurin. Well, now you're out of completions when you have a low attempt, low completion game because of the game flow.
It seems like they're trying to go at Terry a little bit more. Now, he came out of camp with the injury, right? He had that toe injury. So he had 4 targets in the first game. So 4, 6, 6, 10, only 5 in the Chicago game because they never had the ball, but 11 last week. So they're going to Terry McLaurin a lot more in the last 3 weeks than they did in the first couple.
Which is good. That's a concerted effort.
I think you have to. I think he has to have double-digit targets every week. But Dotson's just a different story. I mean, he's just not getting the targets, not getting the catches, not getting the big plays.
He is the second most targeted guy on the team. When you look at targets, all right, he only has 17 catches, but he's been targeted 31 times.
That's just not a ton. That's 5 a game.
Curtis Samuel also targeted 31 times. I think we've talked about it. Look, they're spreading it out. Gibson's been targeted 17 times. Robinson 13 times. Like, they're throwing it to running backs and the tight end a lot.
Do you like that, though? Or do you want to go to your wideouts?
When it all comes, when it all comes down to the stats, the most important stat is points per game.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of who's getting the ball, they are scoring more than they did last year. Should they score more? Yes. So I don't really care if Dotson all of a sudden doesn't have the production he had last year, but your offense is better, you're scoring more points per game. What's the issue? Yeah, Dotson might be unhappy.
Well,
but if the offense is better, who cares?
Dotson is now the wide receiver 3 because he's not being targeted like Samuel is.
Right.
Or maybe they're the same, but he's not getting the catches that Samuel's getting. So Samuel is your wideout 2.
Mm-hmm.
And last year it was different. You thought Dotson was going to take the next step this year, and he just
maybe
hasn't.
the enemy sees it differently.
Maybe he does.
We all expected, based on the numbers last year and the production that Dotson gave you in his rookie season, that it was going to be a big-time year for him, that he was going to take the next step. I mean, he had 7 touchdown catches last year.
Also, Dotson.
But maybe the enemy comes into camp and he goes, yeah, he's the number 3.
I think
Curtis Samuel's the number 2.
That's clear.
He's the number 3.
Dotson also has the lowest reception average, yards reception average than anybody else on the team, 8.2.
It's surprising. But you know
Weird.
what? That probably because he has a low number of catches this season. Had he caught that one ball, that yards per catch would have gone way up.
That's true.
He missed a big play with the drop. And if I'm correct, a couple weeks ago, the drop was on just a quick crossing pattern, which was weird.
Yes. Easy catch. Devontae Smith had one this past week, too. You know, sometimes guys drop balls, but he's dropping more than you expect.
All right, let's go to Jeff in Clarksburg. Hey, Jeff, what's up, man?
Hey, man, it's the Heineke effect, man. It's the Heineke effect.
What do you mean by that?
Heineke was getting these guys the ball. He was throwing them the ball, giving them a chance. This guy's not giving them a chance. He was throwing it to Jahan. He was throwing it to Terry. He was giving them a chance. The goal line ball to Indiana, the deep balls to Jahan. This guy's not giving his receivers, his number one,
Dude,
a chance to make
he spreads it around so much.
Well, that might be a product of the Bieniemy offense. So Turner, and I'm going to say Scott Turner's offenses, okay, forget about Heineke, but Scott Turner's offenses were kind of known as, you know, he was a disciple of his dad. Norv Turner, that was a more vertical offense. And maybe here you've got more like West Coast principles and crossers and guys coming out of the backfield and tight ends. Kansas City, they hit the tight end a lot, that the receivers aren't as emphasized. I don't know.
You got to play them. I mean, what's the point of having 2 great receivers if you're not going to give them the ball? But see, Heineke threw them the ball. You got to throw them the ball.
Right.
But again, it may be a different system.
You,
it is a different system.
My perception is
he's
that
throwing it to Samuel.
He throws the ball to a bunch of guys. Look at it. I mean, all the guys have targets.
Yeah, I mean,
Cole Turner has targets.
Six
Logan,
guys
Samuel.
have at least 13 targets.
Yeah.
But you would still think that the first-round pick from last year would have bigger numbers than that.
All right, let's go to...
Especially when you see the other guys in his class.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Drake London this week. You see Garrett Wilson. You see Olave. All these guys
Right, I was
are
pointing that out
playing really
yesterday.
well.
Yeah.
Go to Russell in Ashburn. Hey, Russell.
Morning, guys. I just wanted to make a quick point that, you know, just if you look back at the Kansas City Chiefs offense and look at how they use their receivers versus their tight ends, the tight ends get a lot of balls coming to them underneath and even on go routes. And if you look at, like, how many times Logan, our tight end has been targeted this year. I mean, our tight end one has been targeted on go routes this year. I mean, that's a lot of looks that typically wide receivers get.
He's getting about 5 targets a game. Thomas.
That's right.
Yep. He's got more catches than Dotson. So you're right. They are looking for him.
All right. Thank you, pal. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
also
also-
KC stats, not surprising. Travis Kelce is the most targeted guy with 46 targets.
Well, I mean,
And then their receivers are
It's a
all
Hall of
kind of the
Famer.
same because they don't have standout receivers. And
they
spread it
did
out
when they
so-
had Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
and they weren't targeting Kelce more than Tyreek Hill.